Hello, it's me, Alfield, and you probably heard about the announcement about Crash Bandicoot 4, and I have a theory about how this game takes place in the Crash Bandicoot timeline. Let's begin. So, Crash Bandicoot 4 is the latest installment in the Crash Bandicoot franchise. This will be developed by Activision and Toys for Bob, the people who made Skylanders. But it's very strange. Crash Bandicoot 4. When does this take place? It clearly takes place the events after Warped, but there is also Wrath of Cortex and Twinsanity. So does it take place the events in between Warped and Wrath of Cortex? But the characters in Wrath of Cortex have no memory of this game. It makes sense, but why would they make Crash Bandicoot 4 during this time? It doesn't make any sense at all. But I have a theory, and it would make totally lots of sense. I think that by the end of this game, there will be some type of time paradox that affects the character's memory, and thus the events of this game didn't happen, and thus, no existence of this game, would be remembered with Wrath of Cortex. It would seem plausible in a way. The main thing about this is that there's no appearance of the character Crunch. Crunch was introduced in Wrath of Cortex, but he's nowhere to be seen in the trailer, and he doesn't seem to appear in the box art. So I would imagine an ending where Cortex finds a Bandicoot that's like a brick red, and then he takes him to his machine, and then we see a silhouette of what the Bandit could become, and that is a silhouette of Crunch, setting up the events of Wrath of Cortex, after the time paradox thing that affected the character's memory of this game. It would seem very plausible, but how would this game take place the events after Warped? Cortex and Tropy turned into babies at the end of that game. But still though, maybe some time stuff happened. It would seem very plausible, and considering the fact that the trailer ends with a new mask asking how many times Crash and Coco have beaten Cortex, they answer with beating him 3 times.
3? Really? Only 3? Funny. Seemed like more.
Funny joke and all, but yeah. So when does it take place? Again, there could be a time paradox. I might be wrong, and maybe they might retcon it somehow, but it's about time travel. I mean, it would make lots of sense, but still though, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm right, but there has to be a way for it to take place in the timeline, so that way the events of Wrath of Cortex and Twinsanity would be present. Or maybe they may retcon it. I don't know. I don't really care. But still though, the trailer is here. And yeah. So Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time, is slated for release of October 2nd, 2020 for Xbox X and PS4. And I gotta finish, so I have Crash Insane Trilogy, so I better finish up that game in honor of this game. So yeah, so I hope you get excited for Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time, releasing for PS4 on October 2nd, 2020. Bye.